Gator this year for Florida. They're unbelievably impressive. And it does start at the top.
Kendra Falby leads it off as she has all year. She's actually the only Florida Gator to not switch around in the batting order at all this season. Has been their leadoff. Went 0 for 4 yesterday, hoping to get the Gators out in front the way Baylor did against them yesterday afternoon. Florida as the away team here for game 2. And you talked about Riley Crandall in the circle tunneling well. Her teammate, Emily Hott, who plays in left field and leads it off for the Baylor Bears, says she strikes out a lot against Riley Crandall in practice.
Because of that. I mean, that's exactly what she mentioned, is I can't tell the difference between a curve, a change, the way that each pitch is released. It comes out of that zone. Again, the tunnel between the pitching rubber and home plate, the fact that she can thread that needle with such precision.
16-game winner this year, the sophomore from New Mexico. Has a 1-2 count to Kendra Falby. Falby battling here at the plate. Start the game for the Gators, who won their 50th game of the season yesterday, becoming just the 11th team in program history to reach 50 wins. And this time, Falby goes down on the off speed. One away in the first for Riley Crandall.
The pitch that she worked on the most this offseason is the one that just sat down the first batter that she faced. The off-speed low and away against Falby. Some of the best speed on this team coming at the top of the order for Florida. The importance of keeping those legs off base.
Top 15 in the nation in stolen bases, this Florida team throughout the course of the year. Top 10 in batting average, runs per game, home runs, led the nation in doubles. One of the most dynamic offenses in the country, but Aaron, maybe in program history for Tim Walton.
Not to mention the leadership, too, at the top of this order with Falby, Otis, Wallace, Sr. A lot of postseason experience on this team. We got to talk to Florida coming into this weekend just about what this portion of the year means to them. And Kendra Falby had some choice words, specifically with you, about the perspective of Supers right now.
Back-to-back strikeouts to start the game for Riley Crandall. Well, the off-speed, we've seen back-to-back on strikeouts for Riley Crandall. And you mentioned Florida being in the Super Regional. Have not been in the Super Regional since 2022, as Skylar Wallace digs in. And Kendra Falby, one of those 8 returners coming back from last year. They lost in Palo Alto, and she told us the 8 returners got together after that trip to Palo Alto, in which they were bounced early from the NCAA tournament, and said, not again. Skylar Wallace keeps the inning alive with a 2-out single up the middle.
And it was specifically Skylar Wallace and Kendra Falby that sat down with head coach Tim Walton and said, what do we have to do? What do we have to do to get back to Gator softball? And I think it starts with these leaders. Skylar Wallace finding her way on with 2 outs. This is a team that hit well with their backs against the wall in game 1 yesterday, a 4-2 win. a lot of production with 2 outs, and I felt like their swings continued to get better with that pressure late in innings. And that's the Florida offense that we know so well.
Well, Wallace now riding a 13-game hit streak. Passes the bat to Jocelyn Erickson, the SEC Player of the Year. And one of the new pieces that have been critical to Florida's success. Again, we mentioned a moment ago, returning only 8 players from last year's team. Combination of transfer portal and true freshmen helping on this run. Speaking of running, there goes Wallace, and the throwdown is not in time. And the SEC stolen base leader is safe, but shaken up at second base. Her 36th stolen bag of the season. And she might have caught something to the grill here.
I think so, yeah. She's kind of spitting a little bit. I'm not sure if that was a contact with the knee or the base. Straight to the chin. And tough as nails, though. You get that sense when you have a chance to sit down and talk to Skylar Wallace. We had the pleasure that a couple days ago, the leadership, the grittiness, the perspective, like nothing is going to take down this young woman. Oh, that may have been the glove. Face right into the glove.
Oh. And now Baylor is challenging the call that Skylar Wallace did get in under the tag. Did not have a challenge yesterday. That has been quickly changed. Home plate umpire Terry Holt will head over down the third base line and put on the headset. Cameron Ellison, Susan Eads, John Baca, also part of our 4 umpire crew for the Super Regional here in Gainesville.
So I've heard a lot of discussions about going to a challenge call this early in the game. I think you can look at it from a lot of different perspectives here. She looks to be safe there for me. I think the fingertips get into the base before the tag's thrown down onto the head. But think about how close game 1 was. A 4-2 ball game. And honestly, without a couple bombs on the board, 1 swing from either team.
Exactly. When Corby Otis hit the home run. Here comes Terry Holt.
After further review, the call on the field is upheld.
Wings in motion. But back to the decision of using a challenge this early, keeping someone like Skylar Wallace out of scoring position with 2 outs on the board, right? In a team that's hit so well with 2 outs, I like the call.
She has scored a program record 85 runs this year and is knocking on the door of the all-time NCAA runs record, held currently by Sierra Romero, set back in 2016. 2-2 count to Jocelyn Erickson.
I've had the pleasure of covering a lot of Florida softball this year, and I think every single game I've had the chance to cover, Jocelyn Erickson has come up in a clutch situation and delivered.
Florida trying to manifest a run here in the first inning. Payoff pitch to Erickson. To second base. West to first. And Riley Crandall pitches around a 2-out Skylar Wallace single, and
side of the plate was not a call that she was getting, and I felt her pivot as this game unfolded. Inning over inning, she got better and better, Matt, and that I think that's why she's getting the start here in game 2. Why not Rothrock, right? That was a phrase that we've heard from Florida all weekend long, is why not us? Why not Florida? And why not the freshman arm, Keegan Rothrock, getting the start here in game 2?
Against the Baylor starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One, highlighted by Aaliyah Binford in the cleanup spot today, playing over at third base. Yesterday, she was the starting pitcher, drove in both runs for the Baylor Bears. And they will likely need more than 2 runs today to come away with a win against one of the top scoring teams in the country in Florida. Emily Hott leads it off. Had never before been a primary leadoff in her career until this season. Thrust into that role due to a myriad of injuries over the course of the year for Baylor.
You're going to see speed. You're going to see change of speed from Rothrock. Can come up to 72 miles an hour. She's got an off-speed curve. I think that's one of the deadliest pitches in her arsenal, the fact that she can cut east to west and pull the string. I think this is an arm too, Matt, that was known for the rise ball for the majority of the season. You can see it there up and away. But last night she dominated on the low rise at the chest. She dominated with a screwball away from the lefty.
Since the final regular season series against Texas A&M, Keegan Rothrock has thrown 53 1/3 of the available 66 1/3 innings for this Florida staff. She has been the horse. And the payoff coming to Emily Hott. And a leadoff walk for the Baylor Bears to start the bottom half of the inning.
We saw this yesterday, right? Emily Hott drawing off the leadoff walk against the freshman. She had only walked 1 batter entire weekend, right? In regional play, she was so good in the strike zone. So aggressive early in counts. In back-to-back games, gives away a free base the first batter she sees.
And you talked about Baylor yesterday out hitting Florida. They barreled up Keegan Rothrock pretty well throughout the course of that game.
A lot of hot shots. I mean, 6 hits on the day yesterday. Florida collecting only 5. Really, the difference was Florida just cashed in.
In at the corners for Presley Pylon. That is why, but bunts it foul.
That's a portion of the game. I'm so traditional and old school when it comes to the short game, specifically in the postseason. Like, that is just something you gotta get down. You practice that all year. It means so much in moments like this.
It's been something that Baylor has excelled at over the course of the year. Small ball. In the words of Glenn Moore, his team does not rank in the top 50 in any of the major statistical offensive categories around the country. They have overcome great adversity, losing Amber Tovin, their starting shortstop, losing Dariana Orm, their ace pitcher from a year ago, and a number of other position players. But they have fought their way to the Super Regional for the first time since 2017. And Pylon fights this into right field and down for a base hit. What a battle by Presley Pylon. 2 on, nobody out for Baylor.
She gets fisted on this. This is up and in under the hands, but the strong bottom hand on that knob punches this ball right over Williams at second base. As good as a bunt. Finds her way on.
And passes the bat to Shaylin Govan. Arguably the most dangerous hitter in this Baylor lineup. First team all Big 12 selection.
Looking back at yesterday too, Matt, the first inning, Rothrock faced 7 hitters for Baylor. And it looked pretty similar to this. Led off with a walk. She actually struck out Presley Pylon, and then it was base hit after base hit for the Bears.
Go-ahead run in scoring position Baylor did score first yesterday. Have an opportunity to do it again here as the home team today. And Shaylin Govan hitting nearly 500 in her last 8 games. Lifts this deep to left center field. Back on it is Falby. Goodbye! Baylor strikes first. 3-zip Bears. th home run of the year for Shaylin Govan.
Matt, there's some history here for the Bears. There is some history, and it was discussed in detail. This is a postseason team. The last 3 times they have punched their ticket to the Women's College World Series, it has been on somebody else's field, led by none other than Shaylin Govan, who has been lights out this postseason. We're going to have a pitching change in the circle.
3 batters in. Tim Walton will go to the bullpen when we return.
For years, they competed against each other. But every 4 years, they take on the world. They represent our schools.
The SEC Freshman of the Year, Keegan Rothrock, in her 2nd straight start, at least for now, taken out of the circle and will be replaced after the 3-run homer by Shaylin Govan. She will be replaced by her freshman teammate, Ava Brown.
This is like having a 5th infielder on the dirt, right? You've seen her play first base. She uses the defense well, but she's a fly ball out pitcher. She challenges up in the zone. 3 speeds, off speed curve, true change. She is going to slice and dice when it comes to miles per hour, and I think this will take an adjustment for the Bears at the plate.
With Ava Brown moving over from first base to the circle, Avery Gels will play first base for the Gators. Base is empty, nobody out. And Aaliyah Binford at the plate. You know, it's interesting. You and I chatted coming into game 2, not knowing who the starter would be for Florida. And the question is, do you use Ava Brown to start the game? And then take Keegan Rothrock out of the bullpen if necessary? As this is shot to shallow left. 1 down.
Well, and to be very honest, my comment back to you was the fact that Baylor barreled up Rothrock very well yesterday. Florida gets the win 4-2, but not a shutout by any means. This was an offense in the Bears that showed very well against the freshman arm of Rothrock.
But Rothrock has thrown a lot of innings.
She has.
And so now the hope for Tim Walton is that Ava Brown, who has been very impressive this year and who is more fresh, certainly, than Rothrock, can come in here and steady the tide.
And a reminder, this is a young staff, right? That was the question mark coming in to the season for the Gators, was a very talented young group. But with freshmen, you just never know, right? How quickly will they settle in? They've never played in a postseason before. That's a lot of pressure that is brand new. I can remember that for the first time. Nothing can prepare you for postseason pressure like just playing in the postseason. It's a birth by fire experience, truly. There's nothing else like it.
They didn't return any innings on the pitching staff from last season, and their top 2 pitchers are true freshmen.
Right. I think what has been so nice for Florida to lean on is the fact that their offense has so much experience, right? This is a Florida team that's put up monster numbers specifically in the last 3-4 weeks. Really, since winning the SEC tournament, this team has just been on a tear. It gives their pitching staff a lot of space to settle in and work, figure some things out.
3-2. Into center and down for a base hit. The 3rd hit of the inning for the Baylor Bears and the 3rd hit of the weekend for Sydney Cavazos.
I think too, Matt, we need to really dig into the conversation that we had with head coach Glenn Moore. I mean, he fired us up.
Yes.
We were ready to take the field as well. I mean, that truly is the type of confidence that Glenn Moore has instilled in this team.
Neither of us have any eligibility left, but we were like on the edge of our seats. Coach, put me in.
Put me in.
Oh, but Glenn told us, listen, 3 of our 4 trips to the Women's College World Series have come on the heels of winning a Super on the road.
On the road.
And he has been very candid with his team about each one of those seasons. Did it twice to Georgia in Athens, and most recently in 2017, they trailed a game to Arizona, came back and beat the 5th-ranked Wildcats in back-to-back days. This to second base, the tag and the throw on a check. And the runner's gonna go to second base. It's Anna Watson sliding in safely for now. And time has been called by home plate umpire Terry Holt, and he's going to get the umpires together on this.
This is something you work on as a base runner, to just stand your ground so you can see that Sydney Colazzos just parks it right in the middle of the base path. The collision, I think, appears to the naked eye a little bit more dramatic than it is, if I'm being frank, but that is something you practice, Matt, as a base runner, is to cover the chest and just hold your ground. Just stop in the base path and allow that infielder to have to come to you to make a tag. You are buying home to first time so that they can make it safely to first base.
Watson went first to second. And now Tim Walton's going to pop out of the dugout here to get an explanation from Terry Holt.
You feel both sides, right? Like you want, if you're Tim Walton, you're wanting to protect your second baseman, Mia Williams, to have a chance to make that throw. Her momentum moving through the tag there between first and second base. But again, as a base runner, if you're Baylor, that's textbook.
Right now, the call on the field, at least the way it's being scored, is a fielder's choice E4, which allowed Anna Watson to go first to second base, and that is how it will stand.
Yeah, crowd's not happy about this, but that is textbook fundamental base running right there. And I think the question too, Matt, is, was the throw necessary? Did she really feel like there was going to be a play at first base after the collision?
Mia Williams, one of those 5 to 6 freshmen that Florida has heavily relied upon this year. Playing at second base. Got Colazzos on the tag, 2 outs. And a runner in scoring position, and Anna Watson for the DP, Abby Flores. Taking her first plate appearance of the Super Regional. Keegan Rothrock yesterday faced 7 Baylor batters in the first inning. Bears only managed 1 run because Rothrock got out of a bases-loaded 2-out jam. In this first inning, Baylor has also sent 7 batters to the plate, but the difference today, they have cashed in on more of them. And we talked about it, Aaron. That was going to be key for a team throughout the tournament that is coming into the day just 5 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Baylor needed to get more runners aboard, and they have. Watson at second, and now a full count to Abby Flores. Flores just got a piece to stay alive.
At 55 miles an hour. You really do get a sense of the spread of speeds from Brown, and if she can really pinpoint location, competitive misses, really manage the strike zone, she's gonna have some success down the stretch here against Baylor.
Rally goggles are on in the Baylor dugout. Another payoff pitch. 20th of the inning for Ava Brown. And it's a walk to Flores. And that keeps the inning alive for Casey West with 2 on and 2 out. They're just working great at bats. Even the outs that we've seen in this inning, Aaron, they have been tough ABs for the Baylor Bears.
I mean, it tracks, right? It all clocks. What this team has been through all season long, on the macro scale, their entire body of work, they were challenged early, went through a tough losing streak there for a minute mid-season, and they just never hung their head, right? There were never days where they felt out of it. Glenn Moore really relied on the senior leadership. He said it's up to them to get into a good headspace. I can't do it for them. They're gonna have to refocus. He left it up to the senior group. And then on the micro scale, think about what happened in Lafayette. The run rules back and forth. They beat Ole Miss 3-1. Then they run rule Louisiana 8-0. The last day of the tournament, they then get run ruled by Louisiana 13-0, and they come back and win the whole dang thing.
Story of the year.
Unbelievable.
In a microcosm
Yes.
for Baylor.
Yes. Despite the roller coaster of results, this team has never waved the white flag, not once.
Began the Big 12 season 1-8 after saying in the preseason, we want to host a regional. Then they swept their final 3 regular season series in the Big 12. Bunt dropped down by West and a foul ball. And it touched her while she was still in the box, contrary to what those behind home plate are arguing with Terry Holt.
It's amazing what those on-field mics can pick up, Matt.
They are vocal.
They are vocal.
Here at Presley Stadium, and an intimate field. You can see it on your screen right here, right behind home plate. And a big-time strikeout for Ava Brown to get out of the inning.
Will someone from the field step up, or will Oklahoma's dominance continue? Only time will tell, but you're invited to sit back and watch the ride, because for 2 weeks in June, everyone's a softball fan.
Oklahoma trying to do what no team has ever done, win 4 World Series in a row. Meanwhile, Tim Walton just huddled up his group during our commercial break. They are on a 12-game win streak. And Aaron, they are 1 win away from their 12th trip to the Women's College World Series. They will lead off the inning with Reagan Walsh. Down 3 in the top of the second.
So much maturity from Reagan Walsh this year. That was something that Tim Walton really mentioned in development of Reagan Walsh, specifically this season. Who she's been as a player, how she's embraced her role this year. Takes the off speed from Crandall.
Saw that off speed a lot in the first inning. 2 strikeouts for Crandall.
The term maturity specifically, I have heard that word from Tim Walton more this season than any year I've covered Florida.
Laced into left field, fair ball, home run. Reagan Walsh puts Florida right back in it. "17 bombs on the year for Reagan Walsh.
Right on cue. The difference this year for Reagan Walsh, she has decided who she is, who she wants to be. and taking control of it. Her strength, her attitude towards the game, the preparation for each moment that she has in a Gator uniform. This season, she's shown up differently, and I think we see it on full display here with a chance to punch their ticket to the Women's College World Series.
5 postseason runs batted in for Reagan Walsh. How about that response after giving up 3 last inning? Kistler, oh, diving play at short. Presley Pylon steals a base hit.
Wow. There's been a lot of impressive things about Baylor this postseason. I think defense is one that tops the charts for me. Infield, outfield, we've seen it from Pylon at short. We've seen it at Benford with third base. Strain in center field. I mean, this team has been lights out defensively.
Pylon was not a shortstop to begin the season. Played second base all last year, played second base at LSU, but because of the injury to Amber Tovin, had to slide over to short. Flashing the leather for out number 1. Ava Brown trying to help herself out.
The maturity of this group really does run 1 through 9. I think it shows in the fact that we've yet to see a Florida team really press the panic button. All season, not just this game, all season, they've really trusted the process.
And Aaron, they have trailed now in 3 of their 5 NCAA tournament games this year. By the way, they're still undefeated in the NCAA tournament this year. There is no panic in Tim Walton's team. Down 3-1 here early.
That 3-1 count, that's the pitch I'd want to pull the trigger on. Hard and in under the hands.
'30th pitch of the day and a full count to Ava Brown.
It's been pretty consistent now. Through now the 7th batter that Crandall's faced, she's not scared of the inside portion of the plate. She has hammered the hands of the Gators. You can see Collazo's behind the plate setting up inside. That actually missed over the meat of the strike zone, but she is living on the inner corner of the strike zone. It's a bold choice. Facing an offense like Florida, I'll tell you that, but you got to really trust your stuff to get up and under the hands.
Great at-bat by Ava Brown results in a walk. Let's take a look at the men's lacrosse NCAA championship bracket. Semi-final coverage begins today, noon Eastern on ESPN2. With Notre Dame and Denver, followed by Virginia and Maryland. Championship game Monday, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Tying run at the plate in the form of Ariel Kowalewski, another freshman on this Florida roster that has found a home at third base, somewhere that she had never played every day before.
A freshman, a really solid year that she's had. Got tested during conference play. We all know the gauntlet that is SEC. That can be jarring, right? First year in a Florida uniform, and she was honest with us about the pressure that she felt. She said, Coach Walton just kept giving me opportunities. I took confidence in that, continued to get the nod. But this is a player that has 100% effort 100% of the time. That's exactly what Tim Walton told us. No second guessing in her swing. She adapts. She settles in. She gets after it.
And has hit .444 in the postseason.
I'd say that's pretty darn good. Have we mentioned she is a material science engineer? And you and I had to ask some questions on exactly what that was.
And even with a very well thought out, well delivered answer, I still don't know.
I still don't get it. Here's what I can tell you for those of you listening in. It is studying elements that can make systems more efficient. And we are so thankful that she is pursuing that, because I have no idea what that means.
Flares it right into the mid of Binford at third base. Well, this is a Florida team that, when Ava Brown isn't pitching, she is playing at first base. And so their infield is 3 freshmen and the 6th-year graduate student, Skylar Wallace, at shortstop. Mia Williams, one of those freshmen in the infield, batting in the 9 spot here with 2 down and 1 on. And Aaron, you talked about the maturity of this team. Even with all the freshmen, big credit not only to this freshman class, but the 8 returners who came back from last year.
At this point, with as many reps as the freshmen have gotten, Coach Walton basically said they're not freshmen anymore. They're sophomores. They've gotten the work.
I wonder what they'd say about it.
I know, yeah.
You won a College World Series as a freshman. Did you still feel like a freshman?
Yes.
Yes.
But I also was on a team that returned every single starter.
Sure.
That played in a championship game the year before. I was purely a sponge my freshman year, absorbing as much as I could. But 2, no matter the regular season reps these freshmen have gotten, this is still their first postseason. They've never felt this moment before.
Well, being a sponge paid off for you, because as a senior, you also won the Women's College World Series.
Came around full circle.
It's where Florida is trying to get back to for the 12th time with a win today. Williams goes down looking on the inside corner. Riley Crandall, her 3rd strikeout.
Incentives now at BMW of South Miami. When you make it BMW of South Miami,
We make it happen.
Allo gets a hold of one, 2-run Jello shot.
Inside, Vidalis left field. See you later. 3rd season of AUX softball begins June 10th in Wichita, Kansas. Tune into the ESPN family of networks to watch all 18 games. And during every game, players can earn or lose points by performing as individuals and winning as a team.
So right after we crown a champion, for those of you guys watching, stay with us and just keep watching the pros.
We get more softball.
Let's go.
And some of your favorite collegiate players from years past now playing in AUX.
Absolutely. Got a good field of athletes. Some really good talent.
Well, you want to talk about a great athlete. How about Taylor Strain? Batting in the 9 spot, their starting center fielder for Baylor. Made some incredible plays in center field in the regional.
To get them here.
Drops down a sick bunt and will beat it out. And that turns the lineup over for Emily Hott.
Stole a home run from Ole Miss. kept the go-ahead run off the board against UL. Drops a bunt, gets herself on here to start the second inning, and rolls the lineup over.
You wanted to see picture-perfect execution of the bunt.
Yes,
you just got it. Ask and you shall receive.
So I was in studio last weekend, and I was begging for it all last weekend. And sounds like you got a lot of it in Tuscaloosa. Alabama was on fire with the short game. And Emily Hott, who's been hot in the box, she had 2 leadoff bombs in the regional. First at-bat she had, sends it yard. And you know, Glenn Moore mentioned to us that he likes that power at the top of the order. It's a dangerous spot for a pitcher, a vulnerable spot early in the game for an arm.
Well, he has had to shuffle his lineup around a bunch this season, in the field, at the plate. And only recently has it began to take some consistency with all the injuries that we talked about. But this is a team, make no mistake, they got hot at the right time. They swept the last 3 Big 12 regular season series, won their first game in the Big 12 tournament, then lost to Texas, and then upset Louisiana in Lafayette, one of the toughest places to play in the country.
Think about how important that experience was during postseason play. To have faced Louisiana 3 times already that season.
2-2 to Hott. Goes after it. Second strikeout of the day by Ava Brown.
It's the first strikeout of the weekend for Emily Hott. Top of the order, has been so consistent. Second strikeout, excuse me, for Emily Hott. Consistent all postseason. Had some of the best swings of her career down the stretch. It's a huge out for Brown in the circle.
And a big way to start the second time through the order for this Baylor team. Now, granted, the first 3 hitters did not see Ava Brown. She came in to relieve Keegan Rothrod. But nonetheless, setting the tone against the top of this Baylor offense. Pylon a chopper to third. Long play for Kowalewski, no throw. 2 singles in the game for Presley Pylon. And a runner in scoring position again for the Baylor Bears.
If there are any young softball slappers watching right now, this is how it's done. Textbook short game. Pylon pounds this ball into the ground, and notice that Kowalewski at third base has to wait. There's nothing she can do. She's got to look up and wait for that ball to come down, and that gives way for Pylon to leg it out to first base. That is as good as it gets.
Short game.
That's it. And you know what? We've seen the bunt, we've seen the soft slap, but Matt, we've yet to see the sacrifice bunt done successfully. And I'm a stickler for a sacrifice bunt.
How about a 3-run bomb? Because that's what Shaylin Govan did in her last at-bat to give Baylor a 3-0 lead. Florida got a run back last inning. Govan at the plate here with 2 on and 1 down. And that's a great frame by Jocelyn Erickson, the SEC Player of the Year behind home plate for the Florida Gators.
Govan has gone to another level this year offensively.
Fly ball, right center field. Back on it is Falby and makes the catch on the run. Tagging from second is Taylor Strain. And now runners at the corners for Baylor with 2 outs. All right, so no sack bunt, but a sack fly for you, Aaron Miller.
Look at the speed of Falby in center field. This is almost into right field where Kistler is playing. That is how much urgency and real estate that Falby can cover. As a center fielder, I don't know that there's any better. I think her and Strain maybe are neck and neck right now, truly, in what they've done in the last line of defense.
Oh, that gets through. Erickson chasing in to score is Taylor Strain. And Baylor extends the lead back to 3.
Interested to see a look here. I wonder if Jocelyn Erickson gets crossed up between locations. So she sets up outside. This is just low. This is just a misread on the bounce. I think she tries to get the body as low as she can to be a brick wall, and it goes right between the wickets.
Balls rarely get past.
Rarely.
Jocelyn Erickson.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to see if she got crossed up on location. That's just not something you see from Jocelyn Erickson. And to give up a run.
And she's currently #1 in the NCAA tournament field at her position in defensive runs saved. Scored as a wild pitch, and it drives in Taylor Strain. And that's a dead ball. Went off the foot of Aaliyah Binford before rolling back into fair territory. And also the wild pitch allowing Presley Pylon to move up to second base. So an opportunity here for Binford to do some damage with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position.
Binford, a two-way player. She got the start yesterday in the circle. Helped herself out. Went yard.
Went 3 for 3 yesterday.
Had a grand slam against Louisiana in game 1 of the regional. Has had a lot of pop lately.
Flies this foul territory, and it'll get off the net. And out of play for Corby Otis. You mentioned the grand slam, and then the home run yesterday. She had 2 home runs in the regular season, Aaron, and has 2 already in the postseason.
There's a lot of that for Baylor.
Takes the 2-2 to third. Kowalewski, a strong throw, and that will end the inning. But the Bears have
the mark of a fighter.
I get to love. Like your love, a diamond that never stops. It's the best thing that I've ever do. Unstoppable love, exclusively at K.
Super Regional presented by Capital One, and an exciting Super Regional round through game 1.5 already, Aaron Miller.
I don't know if you saw the catch from Jada Coleman in center field. I think that may have been the best rob job in center I've ever seen in my entire career. UCLA punches their ticket. Matt and I were chopping it up. Do we think that Texas A&M can get the job done in 2? That'll be, it's been a pitching duel, I think, there in Austin. Some of the best arms in the nation. What you got, Matt?
Did you just gloss, hang on a second, did you just gloss over your alma mater still in the running for their 4th straight record-breaking Women's College World Series Championship?
I wanted you to sell it,
Got
Matt.
it, okay.
Plus, I can't miss a shot to give Jada Coleman some love specifically. I was part of her recruitment. I hosted her on our visit. So I will always take a little credit for getting Jada Coleman OU.
Peeling back the curtain a little bit.
I call her my mini-me.
Well, she has balled out.
She's a stud.
Not only all year, but in the tournament.
She's a stud. Recently engaged, too. Billy Bowman plays football at Oklahoma.
That takes some maturity, too. You talked about the maturity of the Florida roster.
Yes.
To get engaged as a college student.
I couldn't do it.
Kendra Falby, a junior for the Florida Gators, has played a lot of postseason ball. Second time through the order against Riley Crandall. Flares it into left field, and a diving catch in left by Emily Hott. 1 down in the 3rd.
Here's the thing. Love a long ball, love an offensive showing, but you know what wins you titles? Defense. Defense wins you championships, and Baylor is locked and loaded defensively this weekend. All postseason, really. They have put on a defensive clinic. Facing a team like Florida, you got to make routine plays, but you also have to make the wow plays, and they haven't missed a chance.
They've had 2 wow plays. Last inning, it was Presley Pylon diving at shortstop to stop a base hit by Katie Kistler. And now on the left side of the outfield, Emily Hott stealing a base hit from Kendra Falby. Corby Otis batting .460 on the year. Was certainly a candidate late in the season for SEC Player of the Year, and is still a finalist for National Player of the Year.
She's been one of my favorite, specifically offensive swings to watch this year. A junior. So fast, has speed, so aggressive. She's just got this swagger in the box that's really magnetic to watch. Very prepared. Tim Walton talked a lot about the mental preparation that she does, and at times it even is to a fault that she just needs to breathe, relax, lean back, recline into what she knows.
Takes a walk on 4 pitches. Ball got away from Sydney Cavazos, but I don't think Otis knew it and trots to first base. The Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. Action begins Thursday, noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2024 Women's College World Series, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Otis doing what Otis does, leading the team and the country with 56 walks, puts a runner aboard for last year's SEC Player of the Year, Skylar Wallace. Wallace doing what she does, back-to-back singles up the middle. And just like that, the tying run will come to the plate in the form of Jocelyn Erickson.
Florida got the win yesterday, a 4-2 win, but they left 6 on base. And trailing right now 3 runs, this has to be an inning, specifically less than 2 outs right now with 2 runners on, that they do something, that they cash it in. Who else would you rather have at the plate than Jocelyn Erickson?
Miss clutch.
Miss clutch. I told Coach Walton, I said, if there was a line item, a column in our stat book of clutch factor, of clutch percentage, I think she'd be in the 900s this year. That is how consistent she's been, specifically in 7 innings. Bottom of the 7th, top of the 7th. I have witnessed myself calling games this year. Jocelyn come up clutch, time after time.
1 RBI shy of Megan Bush's single season program record of 80, set back in 2011. Goes down on strikes, a big timeout by Riley Crandall. 4th strikeout of the day.
This is a game of momentum. And while this doesn't end the inning, this takes wind out of the sails of the Florida Gators. And now tested with 2 outs. Can they do something in this inning with 2 outs on the board?
Well, Reagan Walsh did something big in her last at bat, a solo homer, no doubter down the left field line.
Something else too, Matt, I just kind of been taking some mental notes here. The first time through the order, you see Crandall hammer the hands, challenging the inside part of the zone. Now 4 batters through the second time through this order, it's been low and away and away and away. You see the off speed, low and away. It's a completely different look in inning 2.
with her battery mate, Sydney Colazzos, working on back-to-back Ks. And we'll get them. Shutting the door on the Gators in the third, stranding 2 for LSU, 9 Eastern, out on the West Coast.
Don't change the channel. Don't get up from the couch. Just DoorDash some food. Don't move.
Don't move while Riley Crandall is pitching. 5 strikeouts in the day, Aaron Miller.
Yeah, ice in the veins. Ice in the veins. There's a lot that I can unpack on her outing thus far. And I just don't want to speak too early because I want to let the story unfold, but she's just getting better every inning.
She was a big reason why this team made it to the Super Regional round. Through a complete game against Louisiana Lafayette, Game 7 in the Louisiana Regional, upsetting a national seed to bring Baylor to its first Super since 2017.
A little clutch factor in the senior at the plate for Baylor. Colazzos went yard to tie up the ball game against Louisiana in their final game. She called that home run too.
Do tell.
Well, she was rooming with Crandall, who's pitching for Baylor. And she woke up that morning and said, I'm going to hit a home run today. And she did. It tied up the ball game. They went on to win that regional. And she came back to the hotel room that night and said, I told you I was going to go bomb.
Is that not the best
The
I
best
told you so story?
Ever. There's also, to me, that speaks to the intuition of the game. And I think unless you have felt that, it's really hard to describe it, but there is that sixth sense within our sport. It's intangible. It's the momentum. It's you just feel it in your veins. Even as a hitter in the box, there were times where I could sense the pitch that I was going to see next. And whether you decide to trust that intuition or not is a choice in and of itself, but you can feel it.
Oh, and the crazy thing for Colazzos, she had only had 2 home runs all year before calling her shot.
And that's what I mean, like Binford the same way. Same thing with Govan. Like what they've done in the last 5 games is just nuts.
One down in the third. Bresley Stadium, one of the great venues in the South. Have been home to many Super Regional appearances for the Florida Gators. This, their 11th time hosting. And now Anna Watson digs in.
That's a pitch I want to see more of from Brown. If she can spot it there low at the knees. She threw it in an 0-0 count. She gets ahead against Watson. Peppering that off speed in earlier, more often, that's what's going to keep Baylor off balance. Because right now, they've barreled up some solid swings. And the way to disrupt that is timing.
Baylor had 6 hits all day yesterday. They already have 5, and we're not even through the bottom of the third yet for the Baylor Bears. And they've just been patient here and at the plate. Already forcing Ava Brown to 55 pitches. Remember, she did not start this game. Came in after the first 3 Bears came to the plate.
You're right. Not afraid to take the walks. We've seen deep at-bats. I don't feel like we've seen Baylor chase out of the zone either. They have managed the strike zone really well. Keep in mind, too, on the flip side of this field, this is a Florida team that rarely strikes out. They rarely chase out of the zone. They know the strike zone backwards, forwards, with their eyes closed.
When they miss, it's a double.
So true.
Instead of a home run.
So true.
I don't know if you at home can hear this.
I know they can.
But it is crystal clear
It is,
for us.
I'm telling you, this guy must be sitting right by the mic. He's got to know.
And he is calling out of the box
He is.
with every slapper in the lineup for the Baylor Bears.
He is the umpire in the stands. Every time, he says.
Watson shoots the 2-2 into left field. There is Otis, 2 down. Got to give a lot of credit to Terry Holt, right? He's getting chirped a little bit. It's hot.
I've been with Terry a lot. He's good people.
There's a lot on the
Calls a good
line
game.
here today,
Yeah,
too.
a lot. That's another thing I think we haven't talked about enough is the fact that Baylor has to win today.
Yes, they do.
They have to get a W.
Keep
to
the
see
season
tomorrow.
alive. Abby Flores at the plate for the Baylor Bears. Just last weekend, they were in the same spot. A Game 7 against Louisiana. Had to win to keep their season alive, and they did. And has that not just been the MO all year for the Bears? Back against the wall, have to win. They had to do it over the last 3 weeks of the regular season, Aaron, to secure a potential at-large bid.
He did it against Arizona.
In 2017.
They do it in a very hostile environment in Lafayette. Let me tell you firsthand, I have played in that stadium. The fans will give you some great food, give you some welcome gifts, they'll butter you up. But when the game starts and the lines are chalked, that is a very tough place to go and win. And they did it. They served OU their only loss last season. How about that? I mean, this team has fight.
Battle tested.
Absolutely.
Flores battling here, down 1-2 in the count to Ava Brown. And the freshman calls time. First 1-2-3 inning of the day for Florida pitching. And Brown gets 2 of our Gainesville Super, and the Baylor Bears with their backs against the wall lead at 4-1 in the top of the 4th. Now joined by head coach Glenn Moore. Coach, your team has come out hitting, defending, and pitching. What was your message to the team coming into day 2?
I just thought we built some confidence yesterday and felt like we could play with them. They're a great team. We respect that, but we felt like we could play with them. Again, strength of schedule throughout the year. That's why you play it. You get beat up here and there, but it prepares you for teams like this in this time of the year.
Coach, the fearlessness on the inside part of the plate for Crandall, so impressive today, the way she's challenged the hands of Florida. But I feel like the approach has continued to evolve for her. What makes her so sharp in the circle and managing the strike zone?
Well, I think you said it. She's fearless, and she was fearless when she walked on campus. Going right at hitters, she knows that you've got to control the strike zone, and as long as she does that, she's got a chance.
Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
So true. Fearless is the word.
9 strikeouts in the postseason for Riley Crandall, 5 of those in this game today. And Aaron, I want to go back to something you talked about last inning. This is now the 2nd time through the order for the Florida Gators against Riley Crandall, as Katie Kistler digs in. And what she's doing the 2nd time through is different than what you saw the 1st time through the order.
Yeah, I mean, 1 through 9, the first time she faced Florida, she hammered hands, rollover ground balls, strikeout looking, swing throughs low and in. 2nd time through, this is where she's lived. Away, away, away. It's been a completely different pitch sequence.
So if you're a Florida hitter, how do you adjust?
Well, that's the challenge, right? That's the chess match. As you go through one at bat against Crandall, you think you've got to change the approach potentially to swing early out front. to hit the pitch that's on the inner part of the strike zone, and then all of a sudden you step back in for at-bat 2, and it's a completely different look.
Kistler ahead in the count, 3-1. Mile high pop up left side. It is Pylon, 1 down.
I mean, this is what we saw the first time through the order. Defense, diving catches, but notice the location. Saws off Falby. Lowen challenges the inside corner against Walsh. And when you've got defense that can play behind you like that, you don't have fear in challenge. You trust that you've got your backup behind you to make those plays.
Florida has worked deep at bats against Crandall today, but she's found a way to battle through. Ava Brown trying to help herself out again here. A walk back in the second inning in her first at bat of the day. 3 walks in the postseason for Ava Brown. Two hopper to short, charging in Pylon and makes the play on the run. Base is empty for Kowalewski, getting some advice, maybe some information from Ava Brown after that last out. '70th pitch of the day for Riley Crandall. Is a strike on the outside corner. Crandall has set down 4 in a row with a pair of strikeouts and has worked both sides of the plate up and down in the zone exceptionally well. And yet has not had a 1-2-3 inning yet in this game. Working on it right now against Ariel Kowalewski. Into center, coming on and making the play is Taylor Strain with a basket catch. Come on, Baylor defense. Robin base hits. Welcome back to the NCAA Softball Super Regional presented by Capital One. Picture perfect day in Gainesville, day 2 of our Super Regional between Florida and Baylor. We're now joined by Gator head coach Tim Walton. Coach, so much talk all year long about Keegan Rothrock, and rightfully so, but what have you liked about the growth of your other freshman in the circle, Ava Brown?
Well, I think the two of them are just, you know, they're so different as people, competitors, all the way around. They've just really done a good job complimenting each other and really growing together, but also learning from each other too.
Coach, maturity, I feel like, has been a word you've used a lot this year when we've been together, and you've got a lot of maturity in your senior class. How special has it been to coach this group? Yeah,
they've been good. You know, obviously they've gone through a lot. The pandemic impacted group. I think all those senior classes across the country got 4-, 5-, and 6-year seniors, and they've done a good job. They've really bonded well. You know, right now we just need to the maturity just needs to be just nice, have fun, be confident, continue to understand how to play the game without trying too hard. I think that's been the only knock on us this year as you go. Is just sometimes you just try too hard.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Coach.
Go Gators.
Well, Skylar Wallace, one of those 6th years, began her career at Alabama, has since come over to Florida and written a legacy that few will top. And her history as a Gator, and has experience in the Women's College World Series with this team a couple of years ago. We'll rely on that here in game 2, down 3 against a Baylor team that has to win to keep their season alive. And Ava Brown delivers a first pitch strike to Casey West. 8, 9, and 1 due up this inning for the Baylor Bears. What Ava Brown's been asked to do this year, Aaron. Hit, pitch, play first base. Oh, by the way, learn how to go to school and play college softball at the same time. Been uber impressed by the freshman and how she's handled it all this season for the Gators.
This is an entire staff of young arms as well. And there's almost a little bit of solace in knowing that, right? That you're surrounded by other teammates who you just have to band together and figure it out, right? You don't have the other option of not figuring it out. Sometimes that reality, that truth of I only have one choice here, and that's to show up and perform.
Well, for Florida, they are 1 win away from their 12th trip to the Women's College World Series. They did it in 2022. And for Baylor, trying to force a game 3 and extend their season, giving themselves a chance to get back to the Women's College World Series for the first time since 2017.
Coach Walton mentioned the 6th-year option of the senior class.
Fly ball right field at the track, and caught on the wall on the track by Katie Kistler. For the 3rd straight year, the NCAA Division I Women's Lacrosse National Championship game is on ESPN. Number 1 Northwestern takes on number 2 Boston College for the title. Coverage begins tomorrow at noon Eastern.
This will be the last season of the COVID year.
We won't see 6th years anymore.
Which always was yeah.
Quite as many.
Correct.
Could still get there with the medical red shirts. Emily Hott is a senior from Edmond, Oklahoma. She's already made one terrific play in left field today. Walked and struck out earlier in the game at the plate. Sitting pretty at 3-0. And the top 3 in this Baylor lineup already today, 3 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBI. Popped up left side. It is Skylar Wallace tracking, and a 1-2-3 inning for Ava Brown, who has now set down 8 in a row.
Business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
Performance.
Defense is going to win you big games. And right now, no one's playing bigger defense than the Baylor Bears. When you're facing an offense like Florida, one of the hottest bats in the nation, you've got to bring it on D. And I think they understood the assignment.
No kidding. Katie Kistler, Kendra Falby, Ariel Kowalewski for Florida have all had base hits robbed by Taylor Strain, of course, Presley Pylon, and Emily Hott. And now Tim Walton will go to his bench to lead off the inning. We'll send Bailey Goddard to the plate to pinch hit. In the 9 spot for Mia Williams. Trying to get on base for the top of the Florida order. Kendra Falby, Corby Otis also due up in the inning. As we start the top of the 5th, a 3-run lead for the Baylor Bears.
Goddard's had 52 at-bats on the year, 269 average. 5 bombs. This is the depth. This is the depth of Florida.
And it just feels like the crowd is starting to sense that we are late in the game. Folks standing around the grandstands and behind home plate here at Presley Stadium. The 0-2. Goddard fights it off. Fair territory. Yes! And Aaliyah Binford hesitated at third base. She thought it was foul. And instead, it's a leadoff single for Bailey Goddard.
So, trying to just get a read here on if she was waiting to see the spin before putting her body hand glove on that ball, because when in doubt, play it as it's fair. Play it in the assumption that the ball is fair. Why? Because of what you just witnessed. You give up a base hit on a routine ground ball.
Ball beat to short, pylon to second, no throw for Casey West, but they do get the lead runner in Bailey Goddard.
Now the speed of Falby, not even a shot at first base, the double play. And now you're in the meat of the order here.
First time aboard today for Kendra Falby and Corby Otis at the plate.
But this is the muscle of maturity that Tim Walton referred to. This portion of the order, it's Corby Otis. It's Skylar Wallace. It's even your sophomore Jocelyn Erickson, the maturity that she brings to the plate.
Now Kendra Falby can move at first base. Her 19 stolen bags behind only the SEC leader and her teammate Skylar Wallace, who's due up next behind Corby Otis. During Florida's 11-game win streak entering the Super Regional, Otis hit .533 with 2 bombs. Down to the count 1-2. Chopper to short. Pylon on the run and making a slick play from the sidearm position. 2 down as Falby moves into scoring position.
You can't overstate the fact that this is a tough play to make. Pylon having to come up the middle of the field and off-foot throw across the body. Don't forget the speed, right, of Corby Otis. 13 stolen bases on the year. That's a tough play to make.
And I think it's worth repeating. Presley Pylon had never played shortstop regularly at the collegiate level until this year. Called into action due to the injury to Amber Tovin, who had been the starter at short for the Bears. 0-1 to Skylar Wallace. Two for 2 today with a pair of symbols roped up the middle.
Skylar Wallace not scared to take the free bag. 44 walks on the year.
But Florida has to find a way here to come through with runners on. And 1 in scoring position in Falby at second base. And they may. They will wave around Falby, and it's an RBI 2-out single for Skylar Wallace.
That's your senior. That's your leader. Nobody does it better than Skylar Wallace. What she has done here at Florida. The high IQ hitting, the leadership, the maturity. You saw Wes shaded. That was a defensive shift against Skylar Wallace, and she burned them. Pulled the ball.
All smiles, 3 for 3.
Knew exactly what she was doing there.
And in this tournament, including the regional, 9 for 12. Passes the bat to Jocelyn Erickson. Erickson to second base, and the shuffle is in time. But the Gators get a run back. It's a 2-run depth. Welcome back to the NCAA Softball Super Regional presented by Capital One. On our side of the bracket, we had some surprises last night. Texas A&M beating Texas. First time a 16 has beaten a 1 in 6 years. Florida and Baylor, the winner of our Super Regional, will play the winner of the Stillwater Super Regional early next week in the Women's College World Series. Skylar Wallace driving in her 8th run of the postseason to bring Florida back to within 2 as Baylor continues to battle with its backs against the wall. And a 1-pitch, 1-out off the bat of Presley Pylon.
Feels like things are speeding up right now offensively too for Baylor. And when the game moves quickly, when the outs just come too easily for a defense, for a pitcher, that is momentum in and of itself. That's exactly what you want if you're Ava Brown. Quick innings. Let's get my offense back in the dugout. We got work to do.
You surprised by this here? Going right around Shaylin Govan.
She's been pretty deadly at the plate, specifically this postseason.
But behind her, remember, Aaliyah Binford homered yesterday for Baylor and drove in the Bears' lone 2 runs.
Well, and Colazzos behind Binford has been just as hot this postseason as well.
Govan's 3-run bomb in the first gave the Bears a 3-0 lead. She will go up to first base. And now Glenn Moore will walk towards home plate. Potentially pinch run for Shaylin Govan, and indeed he will. Caroline Rowett will come in at first base. Can Binford make them pay? Snap throw down to first is not in time, but boy, it was close as Avery Gels applied the tag.
That is Jocelyn Erickson's MO. She's set up perfectly for that throw as a lefty arm. So dangerous. Ooh, wow. Getting another look at that, my goodness.
Tim Walton does have a challenge, as that was almost a collision in left center field, but the play is made, and now 2 down.
This is all communication here. Corby Otis is in a full dead sprint, and at the very last moment pulls the glove out of the way for Falby to make that catch.
There's that 6th sense you talked about. Play this game long enough and patrol the outfield the way that Kendra Falby does, manages to make the play. So here is Sydney Colazzos, who has been clutch for Baylor in the postseason. 6 for 10 with a home run and 2 runs scored. Pops it up to the right side, and the catch is made by Avery Gels. Ava Brown has settled in nicely. Thank you, Matt. Missouri with their backs against the wall in Columbia. Baylor with its backs against the wall here in Gainesville, but they came out ready to play for game 2. And they led from the jump. 3-zip to start. Florida has clawed back. They trail by 2, but Glenn Moore has been in this position many times before. Back in 2017, took a Baylor program out to Arizona. Trailed 1-0 in the series, and then won back-to-back games to take out a national seed en route to their 4th Women's College World Series appearance. Trying to do it again here in Gainesville in 2024. Reagan Walsh yanks it foul.
Saw the bomb back in the 2nd inning off the bat of Walsh.
'90th pitch for Riley Crandall. Florida has made her battle, and she's been up to the test. 5 strikeouts in the game. 2 runs allowed on 5 hits. Walsh with the home run and a strikeout today against Crandall. The 2-2. Is a strikeout, the 6th of the day for Riley Crandall.
It's the diversity of how she's able to get the 6 strikeouts that's what is so impressive to me, Matt. The fact that it's the changeup, it's the drop, it's the screw on the hands, it's the curve away. She's done it in so many different ways. It is such a hard thing to protect as an offense. Like, what do you do? What do you do? You've seen it all.
You are a great hitter. Tell me, what do you do?
You step in the box. To me, you have to go up with a game plan. You can't guess. You can't guess. You got to pick a side of the plate. You got to pick a speed, and you have to trust it the entire at bat. You get into the guessing game, and you get diced up.
Aaron, I can't give you that answer. You're the Big 12 Player of the Year.
That's when you know she's good, is when I don't even have the answer.
I am not touching Riley Crandall.
I don't think I am either.
I'm stepping out of the box. Into center. Back on it is Strain, and will make the catch with a little leap as she hits the wall. 2 down in the 6th. And so it's Ava Brown coming to the plate for the Florida Gators. Down to their final 4 outs here in Gainesville. Brown has been exceptional in the circle, stemming the tide. And will now try to help herself out with 2 down. In the circle, she has retired 11 of the last 12 Baylor batters. The only one she didn't retire was an intentional walk to Shaylin Govan. Crandall working on strikeout number 7. To third, Binford, a 1-2-3 inning for Riley Crandall. She has retired 4 in a row.
For regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Some Florida fans with the rally shades on, hoping to get back to the big show. A place that Florida has won 2 NCAA national championships in their 11 trips to the Women's College World Series, but they are down to their final 3 outs and first have to take out the Baylor offense, which sends Anna Watson, Abby Flores, Casey West to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th. Ava Brown back in the circle.
Haven't seen any production from the Bears since the 2nd inning. You've started to feel a little bit of that pressure come from Florida. They've knocked on the door. They've applied some pressure defensively. Baylor's had to make plays on the dirt and the green.
Into the alley and left center. A long roundabout first base, and Anna Watson will get back a leadoff single for the right fielder for Baylor. And that is the first hit for the Bears since the 2nd inning. Fly ball left field, and Otis, shielding the sun, makes the play.
They're much quicker at bats too. I mentioned the pace of the game starting to pick up for Baylor offensively. You saw 1 pitch, 1 swing from Pylon last inning in the 5th. Did see a walk against Govan, but as far as the deep at bats, the patience at the plate from Baylor that started this game, we've started to see that shift. Much more aggressive earlier in counts, and it's sped up this game into late innings.
And maybe that is why Glenn Moore is sending a pinch hitter to the plate. Shannon Vivoda, the junior from Pueblo, Colorado. With a runner on and 1 down in the 6th. She will bat in the 8th spot for Casey West. Ooh! You can hear that from up here.
Right on the kneecap.
Did she even feel it?
I don't know. Didn't even flinch.
Well, she's somebody that's battled through injury all year. Started the season at 3rd base, but injuries have had her in and out of the lineup. Doesn't look hobbled after that. And now then the 9th spot, Taylor Strain drops down a bunt. Only play at first, but she's safe. And the bases are loaded for the Bears as they turn the lineup over to Emily Hott.
This is the 2nd time we have seen Taylor Strain in the 9-hole drop the drag bunt. As beautiful as it gets, the speed at the bottom of this order, you can't defend it. Speed never slumps. Applying pressure on this defense rolls the lineup over.
They have executed defense, pitching, and small ball as well as you can ask if you're head coach Glenn Moore. A meeting in the infield here for the Florida defense with their freshman pitcher Ava Brown, who for the first time since the 2nd inning is facing some adversity here against Baylor, and will now have to get out of the jam against the top of this Baylor order. And her 90th pitch of the day is a strike to Emily Hott. Baylor right there on the edge of busting this open in Game 2 in Gainesville. Gators down 2 in the bottom of the 6th. Bases loaded, 1 out, and an 0-2 count to Emily Hott. Just missed. Hott, a second-team All-Big 12 selection, having a career year at the plate. And the senior flies it into left field, caught on the run by Otis. Tagging from third is Watson, and the throw is cut off. Baylor pushes the lead back to 3.
The insurance so important here for Baylor with the type of offense you're facing in Florida. The Gators always in the game.
29th RBI of the year for Emily Hott. And now here is Presley Pylon. And she too has reached base a couple of times today. A single, an infield single on a chopper to third base. And a run scored for the junior from California. In the left again for Otis. And this time it ends the inning, but Baylor gets another run back. They lead by 3, Florida. Thank you, Matt. The 4-seed Florida Gators down to their final 3 outs, trailing Baylor by 3. They lead by a game in this Super Regional. Riley Crandall back in the circle for the Bears. And Ariel Kowalewski at the plate. 8, 9, and 1 due up in the inning for Florida. And they are a combined 1 for 7. This afternoon against Riley Crandall. 100th pitch of the day. To short. Pylon on the high hop, 1 away. Riley Crandall had a similar performance less than a week ago. Game 7, Sunday in Lafayette, Louisiana. Backs against the wall, season on the line. And got a Game 7 victory in a complete game performance. She'll now take on Emily Wilkie as a pinch hitter in the 9 spot for the Gators.
Saw her come in yesterday. This is a bat that's performed when her name is called.
Yesterday went 0 for 1 in that pinch hit opportunity. But the last pinch hitter in the 9 spot for Florida, Bailey Goddard, reached base on an infield single. Top of the order due up, with Kendra Falby on deck and Corby Otis behind her. Florida just trying to pass the bat here, down 3. But it has been tough sledding against Riley Crandall this afternoon. 6 strikeouts as she continues to put together a terrific postseason for the Bears, who have been the underdog all along. Took down national seed Louisiana last weekend, taking on national seed Florida, SEC tournament champs, on the road in Gainesville. Hitters count to Emily Wilkie. Into center field. And Strain is there, 2 outs in the 7th. And now the Gators are down to their final out.
What a day for Crandall in the circle. The evolution over 7 innings. She's looked like a different pitcher every inning.
And she's set down 6 in a row.
Partner, you and I are on the same wavelength.
Jinx, you owe me a soda. Kendra Falby, it's up to her to keep the game alive for the Gators. 1 win away from their 12th trip to the Women's College World Series. Down 5-2, top of the 7th. Falby to third. Binford in time, and the Bears keep their season alive, leveling the Super in Gainesville. What a fight by Glenn Moore and his Baylor Bears.
Direct quote.